In the debate, you were asked to clarify if you believe Trump lost the 2020 election. Do you believe he lost the 2020 election?
I think that Donald Trump and I have both raised a number of issues with the 2020 election, but we're focused on the future. I think there's an obsession here with focusing on 2020. I'm much more worried about what happened after 2020, which is a wide open border, groceries that are unaffordable. And look,
Senator, yes or no?
Okay.
Did Donald Trump lose the 2020 election?
Let me ask you a question. Is it okay that big technology companies censored the Hunter Biden laptop story, which independent analysis have said it cost Donald Trump millions of votes?
Senator Vance, I'm going to ask you again. Did Donald Trump lose the 2020 election?
Did big technology companies censor a story that independent studies have suggested would have cost Trump millions of votes?
Senator
I think that's the
Vance,
question.
I'm going to ask you again. Did Donald Trump lose the 2020
And I've answered
election?
your question with another question. You answer my question and I'll answer yours.
I have asked this question repeatedly. It is something that is very important for the American people to know. There is no proof, legal or otherwise, that Donald Trump did not lose the 2020 election.
You're repeating a slogan rather than engaging with what I'm saying, which is that when our own technology firms engage in industrial scale censorship, by the way, backed up by the federal government, in a way that independent studies suggest affect the votes, I'm worried about Americans who feel like there were problems in 2020. I'm not worried about this slogan that people throw. Well, every court case went this way. I'm talking about something very discrete. A problem of censorship in this country that I do think affected things in 2020, and more importantly, that led to Kamala Harris's governance, which has screwed this country up in a big way.
Senator, would you have certified the election in 2020? Yes or no?
I've said that I would have voted against certification because of the concern that I just raised. I think that when you have technology companies—
The answer is no.
When you have technology companies censoring Americans at a mass scale in a way that, again, independent studies have suggested affect the vote, I think that it's right to protest against that, to criticize that, and that's a totally reasonable thing.
So the answer is no.
If you're a conservative, you're thinking that that was a gotcha question, and you might even think that JD Vance was being strong and he wasn't letting her trick him into something or whatever. I know what the left thinks about watching that. They look at that as JD Vance being exposed. But, you know, I just can't believe, yet again, I have to make another video saying the same thing yet again. They're not with you, right? I want any conservative watching, I want you to understand what really you just saw and what you didn't pick up on. JD Vance does not believe that Donald Trump won the election. It is very clear. Your brain, just because of the way that we are as humans, is going to construct a narrative to protect you from an uncomfortable truth. So you're going to think things like, he doesn't want to say that the election was stolen because then they're going to say blah or whatever. But here's the problem with that flaw. And the thing about it is when you don't want to believe something, right, your brain doesn't have to be all that creative to fool you, right? Because it's the idea of like, oh, so he's being smart, he doesn't want her to whatever. But if you actually go deeper than that, then you realize that Donald Trump says that he won the election all the time, right? He's running as vice president, as Donald Trump all the time talks about the election was rigged and he won. So if Donald Trump can do it, why can't JD Vance, right? It's not like Donald Trump is also doing the same thing. No, he's out there saying he won the election, right? If JD Vance truly believes that the election was stolen and he had a spine and he was a quote unquote real man, he wouldn't be hiding and ducking and diving. He would be able to stand his ground, right? Do you think the election was stolen? Yes, I do think the election was stolen. And then she wants to go and say, well, the case is whatever, have an explanation. No, the cases didn't go through or whatever it is, right? Stand his ground. Well, what about when Trump said X, Y, and Z? Well, that's not what he means. Did they take it out of context? Well, what about the such and such? Well, the problem with that is da-da-da-da. I'm telling you, the election was stolen. It was rigged. That's what I have said before. I'll say it again. Next question. That is what it's like if he actually believed that and he actually had a spine and was a quote unquote real man. So based on the fact that he refuses to say that, right? He's not saying that Donald Trump won. Notice that as well. He doesn't say Donald Trump won. He doesn't say Donald Trump lost. And he also doesn't say he doesn't know. But what he does do is try to fool you, the conservatives, right? He tries to confuse you because the liberals watching that. He's not trying to fool them. It's conservatives trying to fool. He's trying to fool you and confuse you, talking about this and that in the court case and whatever. And that's a distraction, right? That's a distraction from, you not to realize, like, wait a minute, why doesn't he answer the question? Yes, Trump won. Yes, Trump lost. Or I don't know. It's not that difficult. Right? And again, Trump is out there saying he won. If he can say it, JD Vance can say it. The only reason for JD Vance not to say it is if he doesn't actually believe it, right? But he wants to con Donald Trump and MAGA, right, into believing that he's part of their cult and not just a man seeking power through Donald Trump, right? And this is how a lot of these folks are in right-wing media, right-wing influencers. Obviously, they believe some of the stuff they say, and part of that's because if you keep saying the same lies over and over again, you start believing your own lies, and also being in an echo chamber that they're in, you get all this, people saying the same stuff and certain rhetoric. It's going to affect your brain and your thinking. But a lot of stuff they say, a lot of the big stuff they say, they don't actually believe it. And this is yet another example of demonstrating that. I've seen so many Republicans who will go around and say stuff on social media and sort of, lead you to believe that they believe something to be true. And then when you question them about it, like, hey, what's your position on this? I'm answering the question. I answered your question with a question. Think about the fact that he actually said that. Like, how stupid is he? I know he's not stupid, but that was kind of a stupid move. Saying question with a question is something that the question asker should be pointing out. They should say, listen, man, you can't answer a question with a question, right? Asking me another question is not an answer to my question. But he's the one who brings it up. He says, I answered your question with a question. Like, why would he say that? Like, what does he accomplish by communicating that? It's just insanity, man. Maybe I'm missing something. If you're a conservative, you disagree, I want you to comment below and let me know why JD Vance is unable to say, yes, Trump won, yes, Trump lost, or I don't know. Why does he keep talking about this and the court cases or whatever, right? Again, he's not talking to liberals, right? And I'm pretty sure he knows a majority of the right-wing audience. They've already heard all the talking points. They know about the court cases and this and that, and not for standing or whatever. They know all those talking points. So why is he saying those talking points then if he knows that you know that? The only reason for him to say something that he knows that his target audience already knows, if he's trying to confuse you and distract you from something else. Like, for example, the position or his position on whether Trump won or not. Right? He doesn't want you to recognize that he's not with Trump. He doesn't agree with Trump. He doesn't believe the election was stolen. He doesn't believe what you believe. He will keep telling you and leading you to believe those things, right? Yeah, the machines and this and that or whatever. But at the end of the day, he doesn't believe that stuff, right? Rudy Giuliani doesn't believe it. Ben Shapiro doesn't believe it. Steven Crowder doesn't believe it. They're all playing you conservatives for fools. They're using you to gain power and money. The influencers are making money off of getting the engagement. Politicians like JD Vance are scamming MAGA and others, pretending like he's on your side so he can get to power, right? If he's vice president and Trump wins, maybe Trump dies, and next you know, JD Vance is president of the United States, right? That's what he's in it for. He's not down with you guys. The stuff you guys believe, he's not down with that. Marjorie Taylor Greene, she's not down with you. Matt Gaetz, he's not down with you. Jim Jordan, he's not down with you. Comer, he's not down with you. Talking about he impeaching Joe Biden. These people are not with you, man. It's like you almost don't have any actual thought leaders on the right. You just have a bunch of propagandists that are just lying to you and just saying a bunch of nonsense just for clicks. Who's serious on the right? Who can you trust? If you're a conservative, who can you listen to that will tell you the truth? This is the Debate Me channel. Debate me in the comment section below. Click on the like button, subscribe, smash that bell. Be well. Disgusting.